People ask me all the time, how much for a custom paint job? The honest answer, it depends. Today we're going to break down the reasons why. Hey everybody, it's Pac-Man from Drunk Monkey Garage. This is part 2 in a series that we're doing tracking the costs and labor hours of an actual custom paint job. If you haven't seen the first video, I'll put a link up on the screen for you. In this series, we are tracking everything from the concept art to the finished product. In this video, we're going to be tackling the front fairing, so let's get to it. So in the first video of this series, we went over the prep and cleaning of the front fairing. In this video, we'll be taping off the graphics and starting to get into the materials cost. So what we'll be spraying today is a silver base coat from Limeline as a base for a silver metal flake that we're going to be using. And all these products are also from Limeline. The color scheme we're going with is an electric blue base coat, which is what the bike came from the factory with. And we're going to do scallops with a crystal pattern and a candy green over that. So let's get a little creative and get to taping out our pattern. So here's what we've got. We've got our outline, and then we have an 1/8 inch, what's going to be our pinstripe. Where the green 1/16 inch tape is going to be a blue line, the base coat, and then we'll have our candy green crystal on the inside of the scallops. So I've got the silver mixed up. We're going to get that sprayed and move on from there. All right, so we've got our silver laid down. Now we mixed up our metal flake. I have a mixture of silver metal flake and the iridescent kind of a rainbow colored flake. So we got our silver base and our metal flake laid out on our pattern. I unmasked it. We're going to give it a couple of coats of protective clear now. So our protective clear has dried overnight. What we're going to do now is scuff this down with a 600 grit sanding sponge and a gray scuff pad for the DA sander. After we do that, we're going to give it a good cleaning. I'm going to wet scuff this with water with a little bit of dish soap in it just to keep it lubricated. After that, we're going to tape off and prepare for our crystal monkey juice application. We're going to do that in the metal flaked areas so that we'll have a good contrast between the black and the iridescent metal flake that's on here. So let's get to it. And just like we did at the beginning, we just want a uniform matte finish. We don't want any shiny spots. What this is going to do is allow the crystal solution to flow over evenly and then give us a good surface for our tape to stick to so that we don't get any bleed under with the crystal. So what I'm doing here is the tape left a little bit of an edge under the clear when I was painting the metal flake. So we're going to knock that edge down a little bit just so we don't have any shiny spots in here where the pinstripe is. Now we just have to repeat this process on the rest of the blue parts. Okay, we've got all of our scallop pattern taped off. What we're going to do now is apply the Pac-Man's crystal monkey juice, create a crystal pattern inside the scallops. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run my monkey juice through a strainer just to get any of the residual crystals out. And once we have that in there, we are going to take a clean microfiber cloth and just wipe it onto the surface. So we're going to saturate the rag and squeeze it out a little bit because we don't want to over wet the surface. Then we're just going to wipe the solution onto the surface. We're looking for a nice even coverage. Going to cover the complete scallop pattern. So we've got our crystal solution. It has evaporated all the liquid. It's left the crystal pattern. So now we're going to use some over-reduced black base coat to put down the contrast color and make the crystal pattern pop. So we've got our crystal pattern set. I mixed up some of my toxic candy green. We're going to spray that over the crystal pattern and untape everything to see what it looks like. So the only thing we have left to do is we're going to do some shading around the crystal effects pattern. And then we're going to clear coat this and the front fairing will be done. So the custom paint on the front fairing is complete other than the final clear and the cut and buff. So far we have 14.59 hours into this project. At a shop rate of $80 an hour, that is $1,166.67. Total material costs for just the front fairing so far is $50.91. That brings us to a total of $1,217.85 so far. And that's just in the front fairing minus the clear and polishing. We began our project with the factory electric blue paint job. There was prep time involved in that with scuffing the factory paint down so that our layers of custom paint would stick. Then there was the taping process. That can be a little tedious at times. This is where your skill level comes into play. Your experience level will also determine the level of complexity of a paint job that you can do. The more complex, intricate paint jobs that you can do, the higher premium you can charge. So basically, your pricing is going to depend on your skill level, your efficiency, the complexity of the paint job, and a multitude of other factors, including the quality of your materials. So when somebody asks how much for a custom paint job, there's no easy answer. There's no one-size-fits-all price point for a custom paint job. It all depends on the amount of prep, the complexity of the paint job, choice of materials, how many parts you're going to paint, and of course, the skill level of the painter. Custom painting is a craft. and a true craftsman is going to charge you a premium. But in the end, you'll have a motorcycle that's one of a kind and a rolling piece of art. In the next video in this series, we're going to be working on the gas tank and discussing the skill levels from beginners to elite painters and how that affects the pricing. So if you're enjoying the content and you're thinking about getting your bike painted or doing it yourself, hit that like and subscribe button and stick around for the whole series. If you're a painter and you'd like to leave some tips for people beginning and trying to figure out how to price things, go ahead and leave us a comment. And as always, until next time, cheers.